Hi, welcome to another episode of That's the Thing to Overture. It is episode 42,
Yep, 42, just like the number in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
and it is November the 2nd.
Oh, yeah. Do you remember the 2nd of November?
The 23rd night of September.
Yeah. I gotta check the car's battery either today or tomorrow. I
Yeah, all I can. We're looking at cars, and every time it's just like, okay, we're not getting a Ford Focus.
yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Yeah, but I do that every month just to make sure that like the battery doesn't go away because for
Yeah.
some reason like most cars will have like a battery low indicator.
Uh-huh.
Not this one. It's that old style of battery where it's just you turn on your car and it just doesn't start.
So mine doesn't have a low battery indicator, but it also doesn't have a USB or aux cord plug-in either. So I have a AM FM transmitter that plugs into the cigarette lighter.
Oh hell yeah!
And that has a battery readout whenever I start the car so I can see the voltage on it.
See, that's what, like because my car it does have like tire pressure, so if tire pressure low, it'll put up
Uh-huh.
alert.
Yep.
But it's like,
Yep, I got that.
but why don't you have the one for the battery? I like my phone had my Game Boy Advance would turn red. Light turns red when battery low.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's not hard.
This is
I mean,
not.
it's the same thing. Why does a car just have a check engine light and instead of just like a little screen where it spits out the code? It could just spit the code out, just let you know,
God, my
hey, this
car.
is what I think is
My
wrong.
car has crap like that, and it just says like system check, something's up. Who knows? Who knows what's happening?
Like, it's so annoying that the solution is like, hey, something's wrong. So go get that little tool that plugs in, and I'll tell it what
Yeah,
the
it's
error code is.
just
It's like,
like
why
those.
can't you just, why don't you just tell me? No, no, I don't talk to you. I don't
Listen,
talk to
that's the
humans.
scam that the McDonald's ice cream machines are running,
Yeah.
where those things break and put in codes, but the codes can only be read by a service technician. So it just says at error 8072, and you're like, well, I don't know why it doesn't turn on. And then the guy shows up and he just like resets it.
There you go. You'll be good for another 1,300 miles.
Or if memory serves, well, what the real result was that it was overfilled. Like that's like the most common reason of why the ice cream machine breaks at the McDonald's is because it's overfilled, and then the machine just goes overfilled, cannot go, but it doesn't say that. It just turns off.
So dumb.
Yeah,
So
welcome to where
dumb.
we're at. So I saw you watched the cool new anime Pluto that I was gonna start watching last night, but I was cursed, so I couldn't.
Yeah, so I've only watched the first episode and a half. The first episode is an hour and a half.
I think they're all
It's
like an
definitely,
hour.
yeah, like they're all an hour. I think the first episode though is just even longer. Um, and yeah, it's a banger.
No,
Anime
Pluto
of the
real
year
good.
right there.
Yo, Pluto real good. I read that manga. Like I read Pluto and then I said holy shit and then I went backwards through I forget the guy's name, but like I read 20th Century Boys and Monster.
Yeah,
But yo, Pluto's real good.
God, it's so good.
Have you got
And like,
Okay, so I've okay, yeah, tell me about has my favorite character showed up? My favorite character who is Hannibal Lecter robot in the junkyard who's just like a pile of scrap.
sorry, you're breaking in and out. I'm
Okay.
driving by.
Okay, I was saying
I don't even know if you can hear me.
I can hear you. I was
So
just
all I've seen so far is, uh, are you still there?
yes.
Nope. Okay, well, we'll find you.
Oh, I'm
We're
here.
just gonna keep driving,
I'm
and
here.
we'll find you.
Okay, I can hear you. Anyway, There's like a couple parts of Pluto I really like. I like how they.
I don't know. For like 2 weeks, it worked fine.
I like.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Anything? No.
I can hear
Okay.
you.
Still driving. Still
Oh,
driving.
okay. Yeah, we got this. Anyway, we're gonna listen
Da
to
da da
Drew.
da da
We're
da.
gonna listen to Drew going.
I bear lots of animosity to bellhops.
So like anyway,
And never.
Pluto's pretty good. We gotta wait. We gotta wait until like I think his thing went
Oh,
off.
there we go.
Oh, okay, because I could hear you the entire time.
Oh, you could?
Yep.
I could not hear you.
No, I could hear you flawlessly the entire time. Like no
Okay,
breaking
that's
up.
weird. So I've only we have met Adam,
Yeah, okay, so he showed up.
and we've had the piano composer interlude
Okay.
with number two,
Yeah.
and he's just now met the uh, ring fighter.
Okay. So yeah, because he's premise of Pluto. The strongest robots in the world are getting killed. What's up
Yep,
with that?
and also key like robot ethics,
Yeah, like
robot
their creators and
law.
stuff.
Yeah,
Basically, like the strongest robots and their creators are getting wiped out.
are getting murdered.
And you follow Detective, I forget his name. It was German. I always called him Gestalt.
Yeah, Churchill.
It's like Schneider. Snyder.
Yeah, Schneider. Schwartzbruder.
Schwartzbruder.
Follow, follow Detective Schwartzbruder.
It's honestly, it's like it's German name. It's you know
Yeah,
him. He's cool.
Gestalt, Geschnitz,
Whatever. I was
Gesundheit.
yeah. I just remember he was cool. He's cool. And he's really cool. And then you find out that Astro Boy world, when not focused on Astro Boy, gets kind of messed up.
Uh-huh.
Also, they did a thing, and the manga did it, and I don't know how well the anime does it, but they do a really cool thing where Astro Boy is presented as both like a monster and a potential problem. Like Astro Boy, as we were talking about, like Homestuck, were like at least in my memory of it. This is a while ago, where like Astro Boy talked like a man. Astro Boy, even though
Yeah.
he was a child, he was not. He does not act like a child.
So I don't know. I might be reading too much into it, but I have so much respect for the material that I don't think I am. That you get the sense that Astro Boy is talking to like humans and detectives like in such a way as to be reassuring to them of like his very existence, basically.
Okay, yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to get. Like my feeling, it's not. It's like I felt when I was reading it like an unease at Astro Boy.
So also question, did you read a fan translation?
I might have like that's what I'm saying. There, yes, I did. So there's going to be
Yeah.
some like interpretive. Like this is why I wanted to watch the thing because I remember liking it, but I remember Astro Boy was like, and not he wasn't like with those Naruto ones where they're adding in like the swear words. So
You
like
gotta have the swears.
So like Astro Boy did not say fuck, but I remember Astro Boy was like kind of unsettling, and it was
Yeah.
one of those things where it's just like yeah, he's nice, he's a good guy, but I always felt it's kind of like if you were meeting Superman and like Superman's a nice guy, but you're still looking at him like if he decided to do something bad, it'd go real bad, extremely bad. He's
Uh-huh.
not going to. Like Astro Boy, he's a good boy. Astro
But
Boy,
I think that's what's even more terrifying about Astro Boy is like it's a nuclear weapon
yeah.
that's also a child.
Yeah,
Like
well,
Superman, at least you're like, oh, this is an adult. It's like this is a child who could destroy the world.
and it cut because like what I thought was kind of brilliant is that you get that because there are Astro Boy stories where he's like really competent and mature, and then there's ones where he's like I'm a baby child robot, And that like
Yeah.
dichotomy inside of the thing where like, yeah, sometimes Astro Boy is super competent and sometimes he's like, I'm your average Pinocchio 10-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And you hope
Yep.
that one of them, it's like, Astro Boy, we need you to be on the ball. We don't need like child here.
Yep. We
You,
do not need you to throw a tantrum that you don't want to save the world.
Astro Boy, you're gonna have to go fight that mechanical crane that's terrorizing downtown. We, we, no, it doesn't matter. The girl made you embarrassed. You gotta go do it, please.
Just pull your pants up and go do it.
Shoot your butt gun at him. I don't think the machine gun butts show up in Pluto. At least I don't remember it.
I would, yeah.
That's a little too silly for Pluto. But like, Adam's cool. So yeah, like I guess a kind of spoiler, but you meet like a broken down robot in a junkyard, and he's really cool.
I thought you were gonna talk about the homicidal robot that he meets.
Yeah, that's who I think I'm talking. Like, there's one.
He's got the Destiny spear pinning him to a wall, basically.
That's who I'm talking about. That guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that guy so much.
Oh,
He's like, hey, how's it going? Because that's like he's the realist. And you know he's the realist because he's impaled to the wall and no one's allowed. But our boy talks to him, and you're like, yeah.
You know he's the realist because he's like, yeah, and humanity's even too afraid to pull this spear out of me and let my life end.
Yeah, oh, he's so good. Oh, that character is my favorite.
Does he show up more?
I think he gets he keeps talking to him. Like, if memory serves, like, he's kind of like, I described him as robot Hannibal Lecter, where like
yeah, that's definitely
he will continue to talk to this robot to say, yo, what's up? And he keeps saying like, hey, what's up? There's also, and I'm not going to give the context of the line, but I do believe someone says something approximating the line of, that reminds me of my son, and then everyone freaks out. I remember.
That's so good.
I'm not gonna ruin the context, but someone says that reminds me of my son, and people start losing it. Like, everyone loses it. It's great. I remember I was reading the comic and like that line came up, and I had to stand up and go, "Oh man." So yeah, so that's like my spoiler / like hype moment. It's really cool. But yeah.
So we'll see. My guess is after I finish this, I'll probably watch or read Monster.
Yeah.
I think I've read 20th Century Boys.
I read 20th Century Boys. I think I started on Monster, but I didn't finish Monster.
Yeah.
That was one where like I was started on it, and then either a video game or like a new anime came out, and then I dropped it. Which happens.
So Kevin, you want to tell us about Hive Swap?
Hive Swap is very disappointing because it's just mid. I think that game is like aggressively mid. Like,
yeah, like just watch. It looks like very.
It's not bad.
Made an adventure game.
It feels like, so like the Homestuck Kickstarter. I looked it up. It started in like 2012. And the Hive Swap game came out in 2017. So we have like a 5-year development, which basically, if you read between the lines, that game kind of got like, there was the first time with the Odd Gentleman, and that was messed up, and they stole the money. And then it got rebuilt with Hussey's What Pumpkin, but Hussey didn't quite do it. So then they had to do it like again. And it really does feel like third time's the charm. But if the third chime came out, like, if this part came out 2 years, like, after the Kickstarter, I think there would have been, like, no complaints. Also, there's the fact that this is, like, apparently part 1 of 4, and we only got 2 parts.
Yeah, part 3 is scheduled to come out soon-ish.
Maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Like, it was, like,
we'll see.
Yeah, like, part 1 came out in, like, 2017, and then part 2 came out in 2020, and part 3, who knows? So it's one of those where it's like, I don't know. But it's just, I don't think it's as funny as Homestuck. and it's uh, like the
Also, we were talking about it on the stream last night that it's made for the wrong generation.
yeah, it's really it feel like because it's because like Andrew Hussey is like a decade older than me. Like
Yeah.
so the stuff he's referencing was stuff when he was like in the 80s that I was getting like the tail end of. But like the kids who are into Homestuck basically when it came out, that was like Nintendo 64, GameCube. Like so main character, it's in 1994. Like that's where it's set. So you have like 1994, your main character who is kind of like basically doing internet stuff. And for my own personal era, I didn't really start doing internet stuff until like early 2000s.
Yeah. And it's just like, so I think that's a novel, interesting idea of what's Homestuck look like if it's a different generation. I mean, and that
Yeah.
you kind of, and that kind of even happens a little bit between the beta and the alpha kids.
Yeah, I agree.
But there's not, those kids have no, the ones who are fans of Homestuck have no nostalgia for the 90s because
Well,
they were
they
barely
existed.
alive.
They
Yeah.
like I look and I see Light Bright and I know what that is. I know
Yep.
what a street shark is in the Castle
Yep.
Grayskull, but like
I know about the teddy bear that you color and then throw in the wash.
yeah, there's like a broken Teddy Ruxpin. I know what these references and stuff
Yep.
is. But
Yep.
that's
Oh,
not it's like that's not Homestuck. Or maybe it is. I mean,
yeah.
it kind of is because you just
I
throw.
don't think, no, that's not even Homestuck. Like, I
Yeah,
don't,
like Homestuck with the references was like Con Air and like
yeah.
Ghostbusters too. It kind of was, but then it just stopped. Like it was mostly but it's just oh man,
Yeah.
like it's aggressively okay. But I also think when I was talking, just because Homestuck Made This World podcast ruined my vocabulary, where the character voices are off in that game.
Uh-huh.
Like the character voices feel like someone who is not like the character voices feel like it's written because it is written by like someone in their late 20s, early 30s in like 2012 or whatever instead of like 94, a 14-year-old.
Yep.
It's like, look at all these Clarissa explains it all jokes. And I'm like, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But
It's
like,
not a joke. It's just, yeah, that's a thing.
yeah. And it's like, but like the kids who are in high school during like Act 5 plus. So
Uh-huh.
let's just say whenever this came out, which is in 2027, like 2027, which means if you were a teen, you were probably born in either 98 or 2000.
Uh-huh.
Which means you have not seen Clarissa Explains It All.
Nope.
Or so when you have like extended jokes and sequences about Clarissa Explains It All, that's not landing. And not in that kind of old Looney Tunes way where it's so abstract and old you just don't understand.
Yeah.
Where
This
like,
is, because like those were still like exaggerated and stereotypical, so there was still a humor to be found in the thing. But this is just like name dropping and expecting it to be
name
something.
dropping and kind of humorously summing up the process of like a thing, and it's like, but that doesn't matter if you weren't there, you don't get it.
Yep.
Also, I think like the way it did its strifes or whatever in that game is vague, and I kind of don't like it because it's more like a puzzle where you have to like use your abilities to get past the monster, which well fine, but it's kind of like it's literal trial and error. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't feel like I'm like, oh, I'm figuring it out. It's like, oh, you have to tap dance, then ballerina, then throw the snack, then whatever. It's like you're clicking on stuff and hoping it works out instead of being
Yeah.
like, oh, this is what I need to do to get past the thing. It's obvious. It's just kind of eh. And there's a bit of pixel hunting that I kind of
Yeah, I saw that where you're just like, wait, how do I get the eyeballs?
yeah, I didn't know. And like especially when compared to like current adventure indie games. So like I watched Pat play a game called Stasis Bone Totem and also Mandalore Gaming did a review of like Stasis Bone Totem, and it's like isometric adventure game, but you can tell it has like systems. So in that game, there's like a scan button where you can hold press like control, and it'll highlight in like the map of like interactables. So you do not have to pixel hunt. It's like, oh, you hit the thing, and there's the door, there's the keypad you can use. That's not the damage keypad next to it. It's one of those where it's just kind of like, it's convenience features with those kind of puzzly games that are very
Yeah.
appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just,
Um,
I don't. It's just also I chuckled, but I did not have like a extreme laugh moment during playing it.
I thought Jude's voice was better than Joey's.
Jude
Like,
was bit yeah, because Joey felt more like Andrew Hussey and a girl who were writing it were just writing this character.
yeah,
I also thought that the troll felt better because every troll is somewhat easy. You just take an exaggerated personality trait and that's them.
uh,
Where the troll we have is just kind of like an apologetic weenie, and that's kind of it.
yeah,
Which is just Tavros, really.
yeah. I was gonna say Jude honestly is like a recycled Jake.
Well, yeah, his name is like Jude Harley,
Yeah,
and and there's like I don't know, like there's like characterization bits I liked. I feel like while this game exists, it is not an incredible thing. It's
are you
just
gonna finish it?
oh, I'm gonna finish it. I'm not gonna. I will not. I'm not gonna buy part two because I don't want to end on like that cliffhanger, and I'm not
Yeah,
invested enough to know like where this story goes because I don't think it's
yeah,
that interesting. Mainly because these characters are like the in Homestuck. I liked John. I really liked Dave. I liked Rose. I liked Jade. Like I like those characters. I liked them. I
yeah.
wanted to see what they were up to. And then I liked the trolls, but none of these like I don't really. Joey's not like Joey does not stand out to me as
Yeah,
anyone.
this is a game that in a year's time you're gonna randomly see it and be like, oh yeah, I played that.
Yeah, it'll be in my library. It'll be like, oh yeah, like if I have Homestuck like nostalgia, this is not it. I thought the music's okay. Music of the
Yeah,
game's okay.
yeah, yeah. It's very Homestucky.
Yeah,
Very.
I like that kind of
Is
Homestuck.
Toby Fox actually on it?
I don't know. I didn't remember, but if it's fine. It's the
Yeah.
Homestuck music team has always been fine. Like
Yeah.
I've never thought there's been
I'm.
bad Homestuck music.
Yeah. They also have an entire library of already made music they can pull
Oh, they
from
can
if
just
they
pump
have
it
to.
out. And it got pumped out a lot because that was like one of the things apparently on like the forums was just like they were doing albums where people were just making like Homestuck songs on vague themes, hoping they would get used in the comic. So you just had a bunch of people like, here's Toby Fox doing an entire album about the felt. If
Yep.
Hussey needs to use it, there it is. Also, you can buy it. Here's a theme of every of the troll ancestors. If you need them, there they are.
It's
Otherwise,
also nice to have something you can put out that's not being made in small batch quantities that are hundreds of dollars.
yeah. I think it also gets the feeling where I feel like everyone made the mistake of Kickstarter where they thought I could just make a video game when in reality
Uh-huh.
the video game is the hardest thing you could do.
Yep. Is
Even
Mr. Rob Moran still paying back that
I
Kickstarter?
think he didn't. I think he did, and then like I think he eventually did, but I don't know what's he up to. He disappeared again.
He's streaming GTA 5.
I don't know. Well, he was so like he was doing he did something I thought was going to be really cool, where he was going to like redo Unforgotten Realms, the cartoon, but with
Uh-huh.
like but with like the current sensibilities from U Realms
Uh-huh.
Live.
Yeah, basically just give it the retcons it needs to
Yeah,
be
or just
more.
and it was the idea that like Mike, the character who was trying to do a D&D, was trying to be more evil, but it didn't quite work because Rob of the character was like into it, as you would see for Sir Smoopy. So he was trying to make him like more evil and like changing the story, but it didn't work because the character liked it. But it kind of fell apart, as most of his things do. Rest in
Mm-hmm.
peace. Speaking of falling apart, did you see that Silent Hill thing? What they're doing with Silent Hill?
I saw the screenshot of it.
So what they're doing with Silent Hill is they're like putting like a Twitch stream with like voting and mini games and crap, and they're it's just like and like, oh, it's bad. It's like, what did people want? I saw like some guy's tweet which is like, this image is like everything an investor wants, because you get to say like a brand engagement, like microcurrencies, actives, community-based building level. Like it's just like, it feels like you're just looking at buzzwords that you show to an executive and they go, oh, I love it, I understand, it's TV, but then you pay money to vote on the TV.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, no. But yeah, apparently it's pretty bad, and I saw some clips of the show and it's pretty bad.
I thought it was going to be live action. I
That
don't
would
know
have made it
why, but when
better.
they said it was going to be when they said it was going to be a show, I thought it was going to be live action.
That would have honestly improved it. I would have been far more interested if it was didn't look like a bad CG cutscene and you're watching them.
But yeah, so it's like a bad version of the Dark Picture anthologies.
Yes. Or as someone showed, was when G4 did, where they were showing Star Trek episodes and then they were putting like a chat feed. Do you remember that?
No, I don't.
Oh Lord, I gotta look and see if I can't show you this, because it like, I looked at it and I started like having
Honestly,
fit.
I think that would help live TV so much to do that.
It's weird because because live TV is basically like, yo, it dead.
Yeah, I know. And by live TV, I don't mean live TV. I just mean broadcast television.
Yeah, like, why would you bother? I have they don't, live TV, like, cable exists for basically, do you want your news or do you want your sports? And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. There's no point, because it's like all the other channels gave up because they just put their stuff on the streaming, and it's just like, well, okay.
So cable does give you that, where you get access to those streaming channels, where you can go to like FX Now and log in with your cable provider and get streaming content.
Well, yeah, like that's usually what HBO did. Like, if you had HBO, you free got HBO Max, and then they're like, nah, though, we're just gonna charge more for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's what's been happening, where you get your
How
thing.
much did Netflix? How much is Netflix nowadays?
I don't know. It's like $15 a month or something, maybe 13. And then, well, what they do, listen, it's genius. See, you got your subscription for like $13 a month, and then you go, all right, listen, we're getting rid of that $13 a month. We're gonna add in $10 a month with ads, or $20 a month no ads. And you're like, well, what? Like, that's what Hulu did. My dad and I, we started watching like the Catch-22 show on Hulu. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I like it. Has a little bit different tone than the movie, which I also liked. Big fan of Catch-22. Have you ever seen that movie?
No, the book is on my to-read list, but I have a big problem of, I always have to stop and process which one's Catch-22 and which one's Slaughterhouse-5.
Well, I also like Slaughterhouse-5, so it's, I'm kind of, I like books about the hypocrisy of war. What can I say? I'm a big fan of the work of one Hideo Kojima as well. If you like such things as Metal Gear, check it out. Check it out. Check out Slaughterhouse-5. It's a good book. It gets weird with it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Slaughterhouse 5 is far more Hideo Kojima than Catch 22. Catch 22 is more farcical, where like the
I was
famous
gonna say Catch 22 is like one character in a Metal Gear game.
yeah, like Catch 22 as the famous Catch 22 is Yossarian does not want to fly bombing missions, which makes him sane. But if someone that did want to fly bombing missions and a brisk death, if they didn't want to do it, then they'd be crazy, which means you'd have to ground them.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch, and that kind of conceit just keeps spiraling out of control, where you just have a
Yep.
bunch of like X
Like
is
yep, if someone wanted to do it, they would never come to me and tell me that they like, so I could never ground them.
Yep. But you having the presence of mind to not want to go on into your bomber and die means that you are sane, so go into your bomber and die. But yeah, there's a lot of shenanigans happen. Get to talk to people.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see the horror. It's kind of like there's a lot, like he joined the Air Force because it takes the longest to train because he thought that by the time they would train him, the war would be over. So instead of being drafted to sit to the front lines, he goes, "I'll just join the Air Force. It'll take so long, the war will be done." And then it's like, no. Anyway, Catch 22 is a good book and a good movie
Yep.
and a so far okay TV show. Um, I don't know. I won't talk about. I could talk about it with you, because you know about Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
So like Magic the Gathering, Universes Beyond did a thing where they announced they're going to be doing multiple Marvel sets. So this isn't like one Marvel like where they've been doing like here's like the Commander decks. They're doing multiple Marvel sets. And it's also coming out in the year where they're doing like a Final Fantasy set. Not like so okay. I got to give a for people out there. So Magic the Gathering traditionally has been doing like a set. They would release like a set. So for example, here is Ravnica set. It's a
Okay, so a set is not a block, right? Like Ravnica block was made of 3 sets.
yes. So now the
Okay.
blocks are gone. It's usually like a set. And
Yeah.
a set is like your tone and your card. So like I think that's the easiest one would be Innistrad is like the horror set. It's full of vampires, zombies, and werewolves. So those cards are like emphasized, and it's the spooky set. And you have but okay, Nolan has arrived. I'm just complaining about Magic the Gathering, Nolan.
Yeah, sorry, Nolan, you actually got here in time for Magic to
Yep.
start.
Oh no!
Yep,
I thought I tried.
Oh, okay. So we'll catch you up real fast. Nolan, did you watch Pluto at all?
Oh yeah.
All right. What are your
I'm
feelings
not-
about Pluto?
Sorry, say again.
I said, what are your feelings about it? Drew watched the first episode. I've read the manga in its entirety, but like years ago, and it was a fan translation, so there's some like argy bargy in my memory.
Okay, so yeah, I'm 4 episodes in. I'm really liking it so far.
All right. How do you feel about my favorite character, Hannibal Lecter robot pinned to the wall?
I fucking okay. I looked at Nikki. And I'm like, oh, this must be like the Hannibal Lecter of the series.
Yeah, he is.
He is.
He's real
so
good.
mad.
He's my favorite. But yeah, and then
He's literally like Clarice. Tell me about your life.
oh, he's so good. Oh, he's so good, and he does things. But we're not. Drew's only watched 1 episode, so don't give the spoilers.
Okay.
But yo, that character rules. Anyway, you've caught. Or also, Silent Hill. What do you think about Silent Hill?
Yeah. What the fuck is that game?
It's not a game. It's like you watch it on TV and then vote to see what happens next, and then chat and do mini games.
You pay money to vote.
Yeah, you pay money and do like microcurrencies.
Get your season pass.
Yeah, you get your battle pass to level up so you can give whatever hope by playing your guitar mini game and then do a super chat.
What the fuck? That's the most insane thing. Call Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's as I said, it's basically as somewhat to quote myself quoting a quote. It's you see that and you pitch that to an investor and they clap because they see like TV show, but you pay money to tell what TV show is.
Yeah.
So we get money by watching TV show, and then even more money by fans. They give us more money to say what they want to happen.
And then you take it to a focus group and they go, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah, basically.
But one person really liked it, so that's good enough.
Nope, he already approved it. Anyway, I'm talking about Magic the Gathering sets. So I'm complaining about how there's. So basically, what's happening to a layman is.
Before that, I do want to talk about Pluto a little more.
Okay.
When episode 2 comes, you see that guy's coat and you're like, "Oh shit, that's him."
I don't remember.
Do you know what I'm talking about, Kevin?
I don't quite remember.
When the kid's in the hospital dying, and someone goes, "I'll do a procedure for you." But
Oh
it'll take your eye."
yeah!
Oh yeah. No, that's episode 1 still, isn't it?
That's I'm sorry. They're so
Yeah.
they're like an
No,
hour
they're like an
long.
hour long. Your
Yeah,
episodes are
with
going to
the
get
other-
confused.
the-
Yeah, that's all.
The other Tezuka character shows up.
Yeah, because it's Tezuka. It's like Tezuka's little charade of actors. They're all going to show up.
Yep. It's like, and then a world-renowned surgeon showed up. Well, he wasn't a surgeon because he wasn't licensed.
Yeah.
I looked at the screen at that point and I go, "Wait, it's Blackjack. There's Blackjack."
Yeah, he's in there.
Yep.
No, it's cool. There's cool stuff that happens in
It
Pluto.
show's great. Sorry, yeah. Magic the Gathering is getting.
All right, so like Magic the Gathering, what it's doing is it's just decided to go into Fortnite crossovers, but what that's doing, and I'm guilty of it. I have my Warhammer Commander deck, so I'm guilty of it. But it's now doing, instead of like, because it used to it would do Secret Lair, which is like, hey, here's 5 cards like The Walking Dead. You want those?
Here's some Street Fighter cards.
Here's some Street Fighter card, but they were just like a little bit, and it wasn't that big a deal.
And
they
then it
were
turned into Commander decks.
Then it turned into like Commander decks because Commander's the fun format. It's like, yo, you want your Warhammer Commander deck? Your Doctor Who Commander deck?
Lord of the Rings Commander deck?
But no, Lord of the Rings was the first where it did a Commander deck and a set, which means cards in Lord of the Rings are being in like the eternal format. Like, one of the problems is that Orcish Bowmasters and the One Ring are too strong in several Magic the Gathering formats. But what that's doing is it's like diluting the brand where people are, at least for myself, like, I am finding I do not care about like the actual Magic the Gathering worlds as much because now you've said like, oh, something I really like could show up. Like, I'm sorry, like Lost Caverns of Ixalan, it doesn't matter how good you are. I like Final Fantasy more than any Magic the Gathering setting. So if you say Final Fantasy is coming, I don't care. And I feel like they are doing this with like, okay, yeah, it's like, which would you rather the Outlaws of Thunder Junction or Warhammer? It's like, well, it's Warhammer. And I feel like they're
This is how, okay, Magic has a big problem, because I feel like I'm one of the few people who, I like Magic the Gathering as a storytelling medium. I don't care about the articles they put out that are the actual story content. I like the idea of a pack and a collection of cards that create a world and create a story in that world.
I agree. That's what I'm trying to.
That's a fascinating thing to do to me, and I do like their worlds more than them just slapping a coat of paint on it to say it's Final Fantasy or Marvel. That's like, I don't really care about that. But also, I have not bought any Magic cards in over a decade, and I do not plan to buy any Magic cards, so they should not be pandering to me.
Well, it's like, but those cards are thematically appropriate. Like, every one of those universes beyond or whatever, like, they're still doing that level of quality where, like, the card does what you'd think it would do.
Yeah, I know. It's like Eldraine. Eldraine's very good, and I like Eldraine as a premise. And, like, that's the shared, like, folktale level that I'm okay with it being done to.
Oh yeah, well,
But as soon as it's like corporate synergy, I'm like, I do not fucking care at all.
well, it's
Like
also
this just, I look at this card with Chun-Li on it, I'm like, this is just trash. This is literally just a piece of garbage.
see. That's exactly how I feel whenever I see a real human actor. It's why like the Doctor Who set was repugnant to me because it's just like here is David Tennant, the Magic the Gathering card. Like that's like my brain can't, or like The Walking Dead where it's like, look, it's Norman Reedus. It's not even like the comic, like at least the Magic the Gathering, Lord of the Rings. They drew the character. It was just the actors.
It was the books, not the movies.
But when it's just like a live action actor, my brain just goes, "This is trash." Or like where they had the Transformer set where it was just like stills of the cartoon, and I'm like, "This is just like I can't."
I was actually okay with the Lord of the Rings one too because it like exists in that.
Well,
same
it fit.
Space
It's like the Dungeons and Dragons set. I thought I did not complain at. And when you're showing like, yo, here's Asterion, the vampire rogue, it's like, yeah, that wouldn't look out of place. But when you start getting like here's
Captain
Iron Man,
America.
or here's here's Thanos's, here's the Infinity Gems, and when you get all of them and you tap the card, you win the game. Or
I was gonna say, here's the head of Galactus. Here's the left arm of Galactus.
Yeah, and it's just like I don't. There's something about like it feels like Magic the Gathering is gonna say like screw our own property. We're just gonna be like Fortnite. We're gonna get as many licenses as we can, and we'll fill in with our own stuff. So like, yo, if we're all right, so like for 2025, we got Final Fantasy, we got Marvel. We need another set. We'll just do one of our own universes. It's fine. Just to fill.
I mean, it makes sense where I feel like it's much easier to do that top-down design than bottom-up, like building a whole world and making everything feel cohesive.
Well, yeah.
It's much easier. Like, if you look at it like abstractly, all these cards have nothing to do with each other and like make very little sense. But then you slap that Marvel coat of paint on it, and it's like, oh yeah, these are all my favorite characters.
Yeah, all the Spider-Man would have reach. You know, they're web slinging. Iron Man would have affinity for artifacts and then make equipments or whatever, because you know that's what he does.
Yeah, Juggernaut would have trample.
Yep, there you go. He's a big trampler. He's red. Done. Card done.
Because spiders always have reach in Magic, so I really like the Spider-Man.
Yeah, think about it. Yeah, that's the whole point. Like, it's really thematically appropriate. And there would be spider human, so they would work in spider tribal and human tribal, so it works out. But whatever.
Also, that they made human tribal a thing is so stupid to me.
That's just because it's happened. It's one of those things where it's gone on for so long, and there's just been so many humans that it just works. It's not intended.
Yeah,
it just works.
I know.
Because you have 30 sets. Anyway, what else was I going to complain about? World of Warcraft. All right, I wanted to complain about World of Warcraft storytelling on the podcast because I saw Nolan talk about it. So kind of dovetails in. So World of Warcraft never had a great story, but the world and the setting would always let you know kind of what was the deal. So for like, as I would say, as like a setting similar to like Warhammer, it was inspiration / it ripped it off. We're like in the Burning Crusade, you knew that Illidan was the bad guy and you were going to the place to stop him. Like Wrath of the Lich King was the Lich King is making his undead army and you're going there to stop him. And even if you don't read like the novels, you're still through like gameplay and dungeons, because the Lich King is showing up in dungeons and like empowering the boss that you have to fight. So you're like, oh, he's making like a regular enemy into a super strong enemy, and that's a problem. So we gotta get our raid where his lieutenants are there and kill him. So it's one of those where it's like, you know what's going on.
What's a raid?
A raid is where you get 25 people, sometimes 40, sometimes 10, to kill a really big monster. That's it. But yeah, but now it's gotten to the point where like stuff is just happening, and they're not telling their story, and they're leaving things out. Like,
What kind of stuff?
okay, so I'm gonna use a One Piece example.
Okay.
You
I like One
know,
Piece.
and this is for all our people, so it's gonna be pretty early. It's Arlong Park. So like Arlong Park.
The TV show or the manga?
Both. Any Arlong Park. Like
The
this will all
live
work.
action Arlong Park is not the same thing.
Well, I'm just gonna say like, okay, this is what I'm gonna be using manga slash anime Arlong Park. I have not seen live
Okay.
action, but I'm just saying so you know this. Okay,
Good
You-
Arlong Park.
so you go in the Arlong Park, and Nami has betrayed the cast. They're going there to find her. You see Nami and she's crying, and Luffy puts that hat on her head. It's a really good moment, right?
Yep.
Really good moment,
Yep.
really
Good
impactful.
moment.
Cause you know Nami's backstory. You've been told that backstory. You know about that pinwheel. You know her village. You know her feelings and about towards like her hopelessness about Arlong, right? You know this as the viewer, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What if that was just never told?
Uh,
What if you just see Luffy walk up, put the hat on her, and you're like, why is he putting the hat on her? She betrayed the
That
pirate
was
crew,
big.
and then we got to go fight the fish man. Why is Nami crying so much? I don't get it. Is she really feel that bad? What's the deal with this like pinwheel? I don't get it.
So, Kevin,
Jesus Christ.
let me say something that, though less effective, I think the characterization in One Piece would still allow us to have an emotional resonance with Luffy putting the hat on her while she's crying.
But I'm trying to get at is
Please tell me how WoW even fails at that basic level.
okay. So imagine like you're doing your World of Warcraft story, right? And your World of Warcraft story, one of the key elements is that you have these there's two warring factions of dragons. There's the dragons that were like empowered by the elements and the ones that were empowered by like the gods, right? And there was like a dragon civil war. And the ones that were empowered by the elements lost and were imprisoned. Now, what if I were to tell you that main characters of the Dragon Civil War were literally like brother and sister and were never talked about in game? So when you have all these moments of characters standing around going like, we must defeat Firak, the fire dragon. And in a book, it came out, actually, like, the Firak the Fire Dragon was, like, this other dragon's, like, basically cousin slash, like what, that kind of cousin that, like, babysat and raised them as a child, and they looked up to him. And whenever there was, like, a really strife in the dragon community, it got real bad. But we're not going to tell you that. That's just a book.
So okay, it's like what From Software does, but they don't even have the like flavor text on items to help fill in.
Yeah,
the
imagine if
story.
there's no flavor text. And also imagine, so what makes this even worse? What makes this even worse is that this was all like pre-production. This is like stuff that's ironed out in this is not like a retcon or whatever, where like the expansion happened and then they go, oh yeah, they were brothers or whatever. They were related. No, this is stuff that would be ironed out in the story, and then for some reason the narrative just never decided to tell it. Like
That's fascinating.
like the character never said like, oh no, my cousin is doing this. I feel so bad. Nope. There's not like one line of dialogue, not like one line of text dialogue. Like that's the kind of place. So MMOs, there's like the big expensive cutscenes that you can't change. There's the medium expensive cutscenes that are like possible but are voice acted. And then there's just like text on the screen. And text on the screen can be changed. You can rewrite the quest text so when you talk to the dragon, she goes like, I'm so sad that my brother fell this way. We need to stop him.
So wait, so like just absolutely nowhere in the game.
Nowhere in the game.
Nothing.
Nope. Nowhere in the game. Also, you find out that one of the rock dragon, one of the reasons why he hates the Titans and stuff, who are the gods, is that his sister was forcefully changed from a proto-drake to a dragon. That is never discussed.
The fuck?
Also, the phrase proto-Drake is basically an invented racial slur by the Titans to convince the dragons to accept their magic. This is never discussed. Because they were just drakes. So they were, see, like, before they turned into dragons, like, they're all drakes. But then after they turned into dragons, the dragons start calling them proto-drakes. Because, you know, they're inferior. This is never discussed in game.
Sorry, they once they transformed, they're like, okay, well now I got mine. Time to be racist to the other one.
Dude, there's lines in that book where a dragon says to one of the now villains, she goes, "You speak well for one of those savages." Effectively, you speak well for one of them. So there's like actual racial tension and shit going on, and that is never discussed. But what I mean is, like, that would be an interesting story. Like, like, that's actually, there's interesting stuff.
So, even conceptually, like, it's so good. And again, it's just from software where it's like, no, there is this huge, larger story, but you're very much like a small mortal in this godly epic. And they don't care enough about you to explain the goings on. You're not important enough for them to talk to. But, like, having the world, which is, correct me if I'm wrong, gigantic because it's World of Warcraft.
Yep. Oh god, there's so much going on.
They could flood it with flavor text to let you piece all this together.
Oh, they could. It would be easily.
Let a YouTuber piece this all together for you and be like, oh, look at this. Look at the lore that's here, guys.
See, that's what they were doing. But so, like, the World of Warcraft story is so... What makes this one frustrating is that before they were kind of mediocre and bad, but this one actually, like, if it was just told directly, would be pretty good. Like, it would be decent. And you would have, like, but it's told poorly. And, like, the things are focused on, like, the wrong area. And you're just, like... There's also, I could complain, where, like, the Dragonflight expansion seems to be about, like, abandoning the old ways and embracing the new. Where, like, that's, like, a theme in so much... Like, half of the quests are about that. Of, like... We can't just keep doing the same thing we've been doing all the time. We got to try new stuff and do new stuff. And then, like, the other half is the direct contradiction of, look at old character. This old Norse Darmu has to stay. We can't have a new green dragon. We need that old one back. Meanwhile, the blue dragon has to accept that his newfound family because his old one went crazy. You know, you gotta... And you're just like, what the hell is going on here?
Holy shit, that's a real mess.
Oh, it's a mess.
Yeah.
And it's kind of always been a mess, because there's always been crap that's happened in books that not in game. My favorite is that in the Mist of Pandaria expansion, you kill the corrupted leader of the Horde, Garrosh Hellscream. Well, you didn't kill him, but, like, you stopped him. And then there was, like, an entire novel about the fallout and, like, war crimes trial of him that just existed in a novel. And then the next expansion was like time travel orcs invasion. And you're like, if you did not read that novel, you would not know how we got there at all. And that's been kind of like the gist of World of Warcraft story, is like, it just kind of happens. And then they use their books to fill in, because for some reason they don't put like 3 lines of text. Oh, it's frustrating. It's
you can't have like a codex. We can just go and read it.
No, it's called WoW Wiki.
I hate it.
Oh, it's bad.
I hate that trash.
Oh, it's bad. It's so
bad. No good wiki.
It's so bad. One that offended me, I'm going to go into my personal biggest hatred, is before the Battle of Azeroth expansion. So what happened in Warcraft 3 is Arthas Lich King came in, raised up a bunch of people as undead, and then, like,
Lich Kings are wont to do.
As he does, and when he died or was weakened, the undead kind of gained their minds back. So they're now, like, they're zombies, but they have, like, their self agency back, and they had to join the Horde because the humans wouldn't accept them because they saw them as zombies. So what happened in the book before the storm is that some of the zombies were reaching out to the humans to, like, like see their families again. Because there was stuff where it's like some guy's brother died in the war, was raised up as a zombie, but his brother's still alive and the human, and they wanted to have like a meet and greet where he could be like, "Are you doing okay? How's mom and the farm doing?" And they were gonna set this up, and they set it up. But what happened was some of the other undead.
I got later days.
All right, later days. It's fine. You heard the big one. Bye, Drew. I'm gonna complain about this though, because I'm still complaining. It so upsets me that I'll finish it.
Just Discord. Okay, there it is.
All right, Drew's still going, but anyway,
I couldn't find it.
I want to yell about this. I'm gonna end it. So Nolan, you gotta sit through it. So like, there's
how the other zombies feel about this meeting?
90% of them are on board. Like 10% do not like it. Because they're like they didn't try before, or they're loyal to factions, but I would say like 70% are cool with it because they want to like ease war tensions. They're like, you know what, I would like to see my family again, or see like friends that I knew, and they made like this thing, and it was actually going well. So they had this big event where they had like a neutral zone, and they kind of like were able to walk across and talk to each other. And some of it didn't go well. Like, obviously, some people weren't prepared to see their, like, loved one as a undead skeleton. But some of them were. Some of them were pretty cool. And they're like, oh, look, there's Mom. She might be a necromancer, but she's still there. And she's like, hey, kids. And they're, like, having fun. But what happened was the evil undead lady did not like this going on. So she, like, sabotaged by saying she had, like, her own people dress up as the humans and then, like, attack the meeting, basically. Oh. And then that, like, ruined it. And she goes, see, look, they attacked them. And this never happens in game.
That sounds like it's good. It'd be great.
Oh, like a lot of like the problem, it's so good. There's like a memorial in like one of the zones where it said like this is what happened. But it's just like Warcraft's problem is that there are good stories in it, and the game refuses to tell or acknowledge them. And you're like, what is going? Like Shadowlands, there was no good story. Let's be frank. The Shadowlands story was all bad. But like their other ones, they had good stuff. And what makes it frustrating is that you're just like, if you would just tell a story that you have written down, people would actually be kind of into it. It's not like we're not talking about Pluto, which is like a really, really good story.
Oh no.
Or even like Final Fantasy, which is like a really, really good story. But we're talking about like a decent Warhammer novel where you're reading it and you're going, yeah, that's okay. You've read those decent Warhammer novels where they're not like...
Oh, God. Listen, I'm reading the Fulgrim one right now. That's a pretty decent one after just reading all the Dan Abnett.
Yeah, like they're not going to be a Dan Abnett, but they're fine. They get you what you want. Like, I think, like, my example, like, I like William King a lot, but like, William King, like, his, like, Space Wolf books, I think are great, but they're not, like... There's no, like, high themes and characters. It's just, like, very workmanship. Here's some Space Wolves doing some cool stuff, and the Warhammer's correct. And you're like, yeah, I'm enjoying this. And, like, it could be that good. You could be, you could be as good as, like, an average Warhammer novel, where you read it and go, that was a pretty good book, and it had enough of the flavor on it. And that's the problem with WoW storytelling. And we'll find out what's happening in, like, Friday, because good lord, I'm so excited. It's going to be terrible.
Yeah, probably.
I want it. I want it to be so bad. I want to look at that and be like, it's over. Like, I want to be Pomni as it zooms in on me as my face contorts into that awful, like, smile that's pained. I want it.
Oh.
But yeah, I gotta watch Pluto. I was intending to, but Drew gifted me the Homestuck game, and I had to play it.
Oh, that's all.
But I'm gonna watch it because I know Pluto's good because I read all of it. It's really good.
I've seen it forever, which was the scene where It's the name Gestalt.
I just called him. Yeah, we called him Gestalt. Sometimes we called him Swartz. So he's just robot.
Where he goes to the robot cop's wife.
Oh, okay. Because Drew might listen. But I told Drew that my favorite scene in that entire like story is when a character says like, yeah, that reminds me of my son, or something approaching that. And then everyone freaks out. Because I remember reading that, and I stood up out of my chair. Like, I was at my computer, and I read that panel. I'm not going to say who says it, because in case Drew or other people are looking. But man, once that line gets said, I was like, oh no. Then that's when it all came together.
We were talking about this before because it's so good.
Yeah, it's such a good moment.
Like in between the whodunit mystery of it, of what's going on, the PTSD of the 39th Central Asian War.
Yep.
There's just stories about, oh yeah, I found this dog and I'm fixing him, or Adam's sister found this homeless guy, this homeless robot, and he's painting under an underpass.
Yep.
And then, oh shit, what's the other one?
I can't remember. Like once again, my memories are foggy, so there's not like all of them. There's some robot racism going on, some big robo racisms. Oh, but it's
I love it so much.
It's so good that, spoiler, Pluto did it. But you haven't seen.
Yeah, we know Pluto did it. Now it's time to figure out who's Pluto.
Who's Pluto? What does Pluto look like? Because we all know that Pluto from the olden day, like Pluto, the strongest robot, and Astro Boy is gonna fight him. Like that's how the story works. But like, oh man, Pluto's gonna be weird. It's not gonna be what you think, and it kind of isn't. But it kind of is, because Pluto's pretty cool. Pluto.
I was like, damn, I wish there's like more Astro Boy content like this.
Oh, well, you just got to get like one of the greatest manga drawers of all time and just get him to adapt one of your things. That's all I got to do.
Easy.
See, so what World of Warcraft has to do is it needs to use its actual necromancy and revive. Crap, I forgot his name. Damn it.
So revive him.
Berserk author.
Yeah.
Just revive him and get him to write your story, and then it'll be pretty good. Easy. Done and done. Problem solved. You're like, wow, you did really good. But anyway, I gotta go.
Alright, I'll talk to you next week.
Next week. I'll probably have watched Pluto by then. So I'll be refreshed. We can talk about cool robots.
Episodes. It's 8 episodes, an hour long each.
Yeah.
Oh, it's rough to sit through in one go.
Oh boy, is it. I'm sure it is.
Oh.
Anyway. Later days, everybody. Bye.